This section will completely cover your rock bottom. Really breaks down into 3 parts, or subgroups. That's the hospital, incarcerated, or in a grave. So let's do a quick recap. You've lost your innocence to societal acceptance, deepened in addiction with justification and comparison, and you dove to your rock bottom by becoming egotistical and careless. So what is carelessness? It's failure to give sufficient attention to avoiding harm or errors. It's negligence. For an addict, it's simply, I don't care, and it's the easiest form of justification. Dude, you're doing coke before class? I don't even care anymore. This is a form of justification when there are no more forms of justification left to give. So think about this. When you make a decision, how do you do it? You think if the gain is over the consequence, you do it. And vice versa, you don't. Therefore, when deciding whether or not to do a substance, you think reward over risk or risk over reward. So take situation 1, a student drinking on a Saturday in their residence. Chances of legal repercussion, 0.05%. Of health repercussions, almost non-existent. And of education repercussions, let's say 1%. So the gain, they'll be drunk for 1 to 2 hours. Let's say they both decide to do it. Let's take a second situation. A week binge of cocaine during an entire week of required classes. Chances of a legal repercussion, 45%. A health repercussion, 35%. And obviously missing a week of school, education repercussion, 95%. The gain is you'll be high for 7 days with no worries. The occasional user assesses and says, hell no. The addicted user says, screw it, I'll figure it out. Hell yeah. Sometimes it's easier to say you do not care instead of trying to explain every reason why you still do. There's always some truth behind just kidding, knowledge behind I don't know, emotion behind I don't care, and pain behind it's okay. Pay close attention to how people feel. So what about being egotistical? Egotistical, excessively conceited or absorbed in oneself, being self-centered. No, but for an addict, it sounds more like this. It's my life and I'll do as I please. The drug has absorbed the addict's mind to the point they are no longer worried about what they are harming. School, health, family, relationships, they're all ruined because it's their life and they'll do as they please. And this is what I mean by being egotistical. So this whole idea of an ego was pretty well explained by Freud. The id is the only component of personality that is present from birth. The addictive personality is a trait from birth. The ego, it seeks to please the id's drive in realistic ways that will benefit in the long term rather than bring grief. Drugs become that ego's dependency. It's realistic, gives pleasure, and relieves grief. Then the superego. The superego reflects the internalization of cultural rules, mainly taught by parents applying their guidance and influence. Freud says this is what we call our conscience. Usually sobriety, abundance, and reaching potential can be found in this superego. But the ego, that desire for quick pleasure and release of grief, which has now become the drugs, outweighs and crushes that superego, or your ideal self. I realized Freud was a bit cuckoo on some of his theories, but these 3 components of a personality give an awesome platform to provide some scientific significance on how an addict becomes egotistical and careless, resulting in what they call a rock bottom. Self-hatred and self-love are equally self-centered. I like this quote in regards to addiction because an addict shows their love, is really feeling self-hatred, and regardless of the combination, are becoming self-centered, caring about nothing but the drug at even a faster rate and a higher magnitude.